introducing our new head coach. Following that, we'll make a statement, and then we'll have a Q&A session as well. So, Chris Dunbar, everybody.
Hi, everyone. Thank you very much for your attendance today. This is a really exciting day for Lake Superior State and the city of Sault Ste. Marie. First of all, I would like to thank our search committee. They put in a lot of time and effort to put this process together, and they were terrific. I'd also like to thank the hockey team and the staff, the Laker hockey staff. I can't say enough about these guys back there. They were phenomenal throughout the whole process. So supportive and helpful, and they all look good dressed up today, and it's just nice to have them all here today and support, and we have some of our seniors here as well in the audience. But it's been a good process, a fun transition to be a part of, and I'm really excited today to introduce our next head hockey coach. We had a lot of qualified applicants that applied, but in the end, we knew with the enthusiasm that Coach Witten brought and his desire to be a part of the Laker hockey program, we had the right candidate here. So during the process, Coach Witten, it was fun. He really shined through as one of the promising coaches out there in college hockey. He has surrounded himself with some of the best that college hockey has to offer, with who he has coached with, coached for, and coached under. So I'm really excited for his time now to be a head coach here, and I couldn't be more pleased that he's ready to come here and be a Laker. So with that, I'm sure you want to hear more from Coach Witten than you do from me, but it is my absolute pleasure to introduce the next head hockey coach for Lake Superior State, Coach Damon Witten.
Thanks, Chris. Thanks, Eddie. Well, it's certainly a huge honor to be here, standing here today, named the next head coach of Lake Superior Hockey. It's a story, a program filled with great history and great tradition. I was struck when I came over a week and a half ago. I got a chance to sit down with the team members in the locker room, and then the murals above the lockers, you look up and you see Vermette and Ralston and Waite and Madeley and Graham, all these amazing hockey players that have come through the program. And I told the guys after that, we've got a great responsibility to live up to the foundation that's been set. From the coaching side of it, for me, what really struck me is looking up and seeing Ron Mason, the founder of this program, up on the walls. A person I'll talk about a little bit more in a second. He handed his program off to Rick Conley. I believe it was his first captain, and then Rick took over as the second coach in Laker hockey history. Jeff Jackson came in and built this into a powerhouse program. I think when you travel around the country and you talk to people about Lake Superior State, the first thing they mention is Laker hockey. And it goes back to the foundation that those players and those coaches built. So it's a huge honor to come in and walk the bench that those guys walked. With Coach Mason, I had a chance to play for him for 4 years in Michigan State. I ended up going in there as a walk-on and became the assistant captain of the all-time winningest class in Michigan State history. And that 4 years with Coach Mason was a huge influence on me as a player, as a coach, in my development and my aspiration to get to this level. Rick Conley, I mentioned already as well. Coach Conley is one of the few coaches in college hockey who's won 2 national championships at 2 different schools. And I had 2 different occasions I worked for Rick at Michigan State, and one of the biggest influences in my life, not only in hockey, but how to be a husband, how to be a leader in the community. He's an amazing person and a huge influence for me. I mentioned Jeff Jackson. I have not had the pleasure to work with or play for Jeff. I tell you, over 20 years ago, I sat up in Taffy Able in his office, waiting for an offer from Jeff Jackson to be a Laker. And had he offered at that time, I would have been joining the family back then. So we're 20 years later, and I'm finally joining the family, and I'm very excited to do that and be here today. The last 3 years I spent with Mel Pearson, and kind of culminated in helping me develop to where I am and feel like I'm ready to be a head coach. Mel spent 23 years building a national powerhouse at the University of Michigan under Red Berenson. And again, I think every person you're with, you take the good, you throw some things out, and it helps mold you in your core values and beliefs as a hockey coach and as a teacher. And that's why I feel I'm prepared today to take over the program with these guys, and I'm very excited for that. There's a couple other guys, Dave Shayak, Jamie Russell, Bill Wilkinson, some other huge influences in my time as I've developed as a coach. And it's a huge person, helped me in different ways and helped me get here today. So I appreciate what they meant as mentors and people I've looked up to. And again, I think we have a great responsibility as a coach of this program, as the players in this program, to live up to the foundation that these players and these coaches put forth. And we're very excited for that. I'm very excited for that. Talk to the guys, they're excited for it. And the work starts immediately to build this program, to restore that pride and that history. I want to thank Chris Dunbar, President McLean, and the rest of the committee for this opportunity. As much as the process was about getting to know me and for me to come over and vet my process, I had those same questions. I wanted to come over to Lake Superior State University, get to know the university, find out more about the hockey program and the department, and figure out some things of my own, some questions I had. And I really appreciate their chance to share their vision with Laker hockey with me, what they see the future as, and more so the commitment they have to Laker hockey. They've made a huge commitment to this program, to restore it to those levels that Jeff and Rick and Ron built and others built, and I'm very excited to be part of that with them. So I thank them for that, and I can't wait to get to work with Chris and the others in this university. I mentioned Chris already, and one of the things that really struck me about Chris is she's married to a hockey coach. Her boys play hockey, so she's a hockey mom. And I know the people involved in that sport, which is pretty much everybody in this community. A hockey parent's a very special thing. The commitment they make, the sacrifices they make, the dedication they have. For us to be in this situation here, and the guys in the back of the room, there's no other parents like that, what it takes to be a hockey parent. So I want to recognize my parents here. My mom Sharon and my stepdad Paul are here. Without their support and love over the years, this wouldn't be possible. So I really appreciate them being here and all they've done for this moment. My brother Jason is not here. His wife and Marnie, everybody would be shocked to learn that my brother's a hockey coach as well. He's over in Green Bay at a tournament with his two older boys, but his two youngest boys, Terrence and Luke, are here, sitting here supporting as well, so I appreciate that. Paul's also a Hall of Fame coach in the state. He's won 3 state championships at Brighton High School, and I've talked about Rick and Ron and Red Berenson and all these legends of the game, and he's as big of an influence for me as they are, so I appreciate that as well. My wife Angie and my son Joseph are back in the room as well. There's so much I want to say, but I want to thank them for their love and support in this game. It's been a long journey for my wife and I. We started off as broke grad students at Michigan State, had with this dream of becoming a head hockey coach one day. And I don't know how long it's been, 12, 14 years, something like that. But we were broke, we were in East Lansing, and trying to follow a dream and chase a dream. I think the next year she put up with me commuting from East Lansing to Detroit for a year when I started at Wayne State. And then the next year I decided we'd pack up a U-Haul and drive to Alaska from Brighton, Michigan. And our marriage survived. I remember a call from her grandmother who was 90 years old. She called me a horse's ass when I decided to take my dad to Alaska. But we survived the trip there, the trip back. We're stronger for it. We got back to the Midwest. And like I said, we're very, very excited to join this community. Our last 4 years in the UP have been very special to us. We've really enjoyed our time there, and we're looking very forward to getting involved in the Sault Ste. Marie community and becoming part of the Laker hockey family. So I love you, honey. Thank you. I think that's it. Eddie?
Do you have questions for Coach? What are your immediate goals as far as the offseason before getting ready for next season?
Yeah. Again, I had a chance to address the team just briefly and talk to them about the importance. All the players are going home for the summer, and that's fine. They can get away, and we'll retool this a little bit. But they've got to go home. We talked about the Minnesota game in the national semifinals with 0.6 seconds left. Minnesota won a hockey game to go compete for a national championship against a Union team that these guys swept in their building. So we talked about every 0.6 seconds matters this summer. Every inch, every 0.6 seconds matters. So it's up to them to go home and have a great summer. We'll have lots of correspondence as we try to build this family and build this program. But we'll start with those guys going home and doing that work. We'll take care of some of their stuff, staffing and travel, all that stuff as well. But it'll be up to these guys to go home and put the work in for us to reach our goals.
Coach, talk a little bit about taking over a program like Lake State. It's got storied history, like you mentioned, 3 national championships. Having lived here 20 years, the scrutiny that the head coach is put under by the community, watching, hoping for more success and everything. How much, of that played into your decision?
Well, I think it's huge. You talked about it already, like you mentioned. It's a great honor. you want to be somewhere where there's a history tradition. I've been some places that don't have that history and that tradition, and you can't replicate it. Everywhere we go, people will know about Lake Superior hockey. Every recruit we talk to are going to know about the national championships, the NHL players, the coaches who've been through here. So to me, it's a huge part and a very important piece of it.
What about recruiting right now? How many scholarships do you have left? Openings that you're going to be looking to fill your
Well, definitely. I mean, there's some holes to fill in the roster as well. Obviously, some losses on the back end and that. So there's definitely some immediate needs we have. I haven't even had a chance to look at the scholarship currently yet and see what we have to work with. I think one of the benefits of a transition from assistant coach, and Mel Pearson mentioned this as well, is right now I know the talent pool very well. I've been out so much the last couple of years that I know everybody is available and where they fit in. So I definitely have a list of guys that we'll be getting phone calls tonight, and we'll see if they want to join the Laker Hockey Program or where they're at in the process.
Coach, have you talked to either of the assistant coaches, and are they going to be retained, or is that still up in the air?
Good question. And I mentioned when I came over here, I had to learn about the Laker Hockey Program and the commitment and the resources from the department. I thought it was very important that Chris has given me the option to make changes if I needed to make changes. So that's a critical part of it. When you take a job, you want to make sure you have the ability to make those changes. Having said that, I've spoken to Doug and Tim just briefly, and we'll have more dialogue as we move forward. They're both very much in the equation, and I want to see where they're at and what their roles are. We'll start with Doug and Tim, and we'll look from there. I told the guys about a half hour ago, it's about the 28 guys in the room. It's about our team. So no one piece is more important than the team. So we're going to do what's best for these guys in this room for the program moving forward. And it might be Doug and Tim, or it might be outside management.
Any more questions from the media? All right, thank you.
Thank you very much again. It's a great honor. I can't wait to get to work with these guys again. We talked over there that we've got huge goals and huge responsibility to restore this program, and we'll get to work tonight to make that happen. Thank you.